Hi everybody, happy Friday and welcome back to Guild Chat. I'm your host Ruby and we're going to talk about Rising Flames today. We have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right in. I'm going to introduce our guests. I'll let you guys talk about who you are, what you do here at ArenaNet, and what you did for Rising Flames.
Okay, my name is Aaron Roxby. I'm a game designer, and I did mostly the story stuff in both the instances and open world.
Cool, thank you.
My name's Nellie Hughes. I worked on the open world stuff. Yep, that was about it.
Wow, calm down.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
I'm Link Hughes, and I also worked on map setup and open world jumping puzzle, various just sort of map details.
What was that second thing again? Jumping puzzle?
Jumping
Okay,
puzzle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did help set up the jumping puzzle.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
So, all right, I want to start and talk about Ember Bay itself, just designing the map. We've talked to you a little bit about the skull theme, and I feel like we should have had like Josh run in here and be like, metal!
Yes, I
just
agree.
to get us going.
Yes.
But I want to talk about designing the map itself and creating the different areas and kind of beyond just the basic look of it. Can you guys talk some about that?
Yeah, I think when we got, the story beats for the season, we really had an opportunity to go to a place that Guild Wars 1 players would love. So we wanted to go back down to the Fire Islands. We had an opportunity to do that, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to show different and tell different stories while we were there. So we, a whole new island has popped up, so you don't have to deal with some of the old baggage of the past or they don't have to deal with our baggage. It went through a really long series of changes. We started out with a very different idea of what it was going to be, and then it kind of turned into what it is today. I'm obsessive when it comes to the Skritt, wooden potatoes, and so I figured this would be the perfect place to debut our pirate Skritt that I've been dreaming about for the last 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I think one of the things we came across early on is in its natural state, the Fire Islands is fairly barren, and there's destroyers, but there's not a lot of life there. There's not settlements, there's not people, there's
Right,
not a
it's
native
rocks and lava.
population. Yeah, and so that was one of the big challenges, and why you've got things like the Skritt who came via boat, and you've got a shipwreck, and you've got all that sort of stuff is to some ghosts. We really tried to brainstorm things that could be there that players could have fun interacting with, other than just the base few sort of natural things that were there.
Yeah, and I think it was you put some green in there too, so it's not just rocks, lava, and pain.
Yes, we gave
There's still pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of rocks and lava. But yes, we did have a little fertile area that we put over there, just because I can't deal with all that red.
Thank you so very much. Getting around the fire, there are 4 waypoints?
Yes.
Am I remembering right?
4 or
Please.
5.
I think it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Four.
didn't mean for that to be a trick question.
Yeah,
that's
that
okay.
was,
Please tell me on this one. Okay, there are very few waypoints
Yeah.
in a fairly decent-sized map. I like the extra movement things. We've got the ley line roller coaster, which was super fun. You guys surprised me by being surprised that I had ley line gliding unlocked. Thank you for stroking my ego. I super appreciate that. But for those who do have ley line gliding unlocked, you've got the ley line roller coaster.
Yep. And we've also got the new mastery, the thermal propulsion.
Thermal propulsion. How did that come about? Because that was something you guys played around with for a bit before settling on it, right?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be lava walking, and that's not very fun. No. So we went through a couple different ideas of what we could possibly do. We found that our players love the movement stuff, so we wanted to kind of go in that, keep in that theme, and our designer Charlie did a wonderful job working with the camera changes and just making it feel really fun. So yeah.
So what was lava walking? Pretty much exactly what it sounded like?
You didn't get burned.
More or less.
You may
Yeah.
have gotten a speed boost.
There were different versions we
Yeah.
were playing around with. One of them, it was going to be you turned to stone, and so you would tying into the dwarf thing, kind of. And so you would get the idea was you would be immune to burning in general.
Yep.
And so you could. We were initially there was going to be the caldera area. There was actually going to be a lava waterfall that you could walk through if you had that. Things like
Yep.
that. It still wasn't that much fun though.
Yeah, definitely.
There was talk about actually setting the player on fire and having that be a thing.
Or
that
giving
we're
them
going-
combat. We also went through like
Yeah.
a combat, like you would do, you crit burning every time you walk through it.
Right.
Um,
But none of those really
Felt
felt
good.
very good. So, yeah, when we got to the other one, that was clearly
Yeah.
the one to go with.
Thank you for not setting me on fire. A. I do appreciate that.
well, you can still get set on fire. Just
Yeah.
walk in the lava.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can do it all by myself. I don't need help.
Yes.
I'm fine without that. So you came up with thermal with wait, I
Thermal propulsion.
I actually had to write it down because I keep going thermal thing fly through the air. We had talked the other day, and you guys actually didn't know that the tonics still worked in thermal propulsion.
Oh my gosh, no, I didn't. And I have actually yet to go look for the cool videos.
Oh,
I've seen
come on,
some,
you guys
I
are gonna try
know,
that.
I know. I really want to see what players are able to do with the silliness.
Yeah.
You guys need to experience
See
that first.
snowballs flying through the
Yeah.
air. And
No, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's I think that adds another layer of fun to it. Like if I didn't know that the tonics would still work with it, but I would have left it probably anyway. I
yeah.
like the fun that players have been having with the rescuing the Skritt and taking them around
Oh my
various
gosh,
places
yes.
and
Yep.
holding them up in the air
Yes.
and moving.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
that tickles me.
Yes.
Yeah, opening the boxes while you're opening the weapon cache while you're holding the straight is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Great on.
I'm having, so are you guys happy with how between leyline gliding, the waypoints, and thermal propulsion? Have you guys been happy with how everybody's able to move around? Do you feel like it's working?
Oh
well?
yeah, absolutely. We designed it where one way was a highway kind of counterclockwise, and then the thermal propulsion goes the other way. And
Yeah.
so we wanted to just be able to make sure that you could get anywhere on the island quickly that you wanted to
Okay.
get to. So yeah, I
Nice.
think it turned out really well.
Awesome.
I'll use a buzzword. It's very synergistic. Did I say that right? Synergy?
I think so.
Synergy?
I'm
Yes.
impressed.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Woo, marketing buzzwords.
I have never used that word in my life.
I've used it in PowerPoints.
Have you?
Yeah.
All
When
right.
you're pitching things.
Let's talk about the jumping puzzle.
Ooh. All the tears.
A chalice full, in fact.
A
This is
chalice
true.
of tears. So I hear it's difficult.
Yeah.
I have not gone anywhere near it, and I'm happy with my life choices in this matter.
Oh no, come on. You should literally burn like 4 hours of your life on that jumping puzzle. It'll be great.
Only to get to the top to get knocked off by an ooze. That is the cherry on top.
Did this happen to you, or did you just watch it happen to people?
It happened to me when I was cheating and it ticked me off.
Oh, you got knocked
Oh
off?
yeah, I got knocked off.
Oh, ouch.
Okay, so if you were cheating, you kind of deserve.
I absolutely deserved
Okay.
it. I just,
I
Yeah.
mean,
Should clarify
yeah.
test cheating.
Yes, I was
like,
test cheating. I was
in-
testing it.
internally
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure-
No,
yeah,
not
yeah,
cheating.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not cheating
no.
in the game.
Dev cheat, dev,
Yes.
cheaty dev hacks.
not on live
Right
cheating.
on.
Okay, so on a more serious note, though, it is probably is it the most difficult one? That's kind of subjective.
Different people have different
Yeah.
ideas about what the most difficult one is. I was sort of asking around. I haven't done a ton of jumping puzzles because I stink at them.
Yep.
And when I actually questioned our environment artist Josh about like, is this actually possible? He like walked me through it. He and our rewards designer Andy like stood behind me for an hour while I just set like a world state where I was, and then tried to make the jump, fall to my death.
Yep.
Restore, try to make a jump, fall to my death, and they're just like sitting there like cackling.
We even had like rope guides
Yes.
originally.
Oh, yeah.
Josh
There was like a
put in placeholder rope guides and
Yeah.
still
Really?
couldn't do
yeah
it.
to show the path, because like once we took them out, trying to figure out where some of those jumps are supposed to take you to, it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's really hard. But like some people feel like the Nightmare Tower that comes out with Halloween
Yeah.
is more difficult because it's timed, right? And so there's that time pressure. I can't remember. Andy was proposing that Troll's Revenge before we opened up gliding in the open world had been harder.
Yes.
In Lion's Arch, and there was another one. I want to say they were mentioning Fireheart Rise, but I could be wrong. But there was some other really long, difficult jumping puzzle that, like, just because there was nothing, like no checkpoints for a really long way,
yeah, you put
longer.
checkpoints in this
Yeah,
one.
checkpoints are
That's
needed.
true. We added checkpoints. Initially, Josh like didn't intend to have any, and because we didn't have a waypoint nearby, that just seemed like really, really
Yeah.
punishing. So yeah, that's why we added the refreshing mist that you can get a few times on the way up.
Just cool off on.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So what's the strategy on? Is it just figure out where the correctly shaped slope is?
Yeah, well,
Can you offer players any help?
A tip. You will want to glide across the sort of open chalice to horns that are sort of sticking down from the skulls. And there's these lava spouts that like turn on and off, right? The intended path through the puzzle will take you over all those lava spouts. So like if you look from where you're at and there's some like lava spouts turning on and off and there's a horn over there that looks like you could glide to, you're probably supposed to go that way. So there you go.
So it's working as intended.
Yeah.
All right. You kind of make me want to try it. I'm mostly just afraid of it.
I have to tell you, you should go into it just for the spectacle, because when you get in there and
cool
there's just
area.
this
Yeah, it's a really cool area.
yeah, titanic mass of skulls just leering down at you from every angle, weeping lava.
Yeah, it's, you know.
It's not hard to get actually to
Yeah.
the thing.
The thing
but-
about Ember Bay, I've been running around off and on, just not even doing events that much, just looking.
Yeah.
And I've heard the same thing from our players, is that there's just so much to see. So well done on that front.
High five.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Try to shove as much stuff in there as we can.
It's a good work philosophy. Just
Yeah.
all the things.
Cram it in.
Just get it in there, yep.
Speaking of, and you mentioned all of the Skritt earlier, I wanted to talk about populating the island because, again, kind of a desolate, hellish wasteland, and there's some things that are naturally occurring, like lava monsters. The destroyers are there. Where did you even begin on populating? I mean, some of the things were easy. The story, some of them were story-driven. That was
Right.
helpful. And globs of lava shooting fire at you were kind of a given. Where else did you go on populating them?
Well, Link did most of the population
Yeah.
on the map.
Yeah, I don't know.
you.
Just looking at other places where we'd used lava environments, Mount Maelstrom, Firehot Rise, seeing just what kind of creatures we could play with. There were some other things we wanted to play with, but just
Yeah.
weren't able to make them work. Some things that had looked right, like tar elementals, were actually all over the island originally, until someone pointed out tar elementals take like critical damage from fire. They probably shouldn't actually
Yeah.
be there.
They kind of
so-
look like turds, too.
well,
You know,
they're not that
I'll
good.
go
That
ahead and
was the
say
secondary
it. Yeah,
issue.
I just looked like a turd.
That's fair. And then
Tar
also,
isn't an element.
Yeah.
So it fits that they used to be there and they are no longer there.
yeah, they
Yeah.
burned up and turned
Yeah,
into
that's
lava
right.
elementals. That's pretty much what happened. Yeah. And then just like looking at some of our island environments as well, Blood Tide Coast and South Sun, to see what sort of things had been used for those environments out in the water to populate like sulfurous depths and whatever. And then of course there's also the peninsula with dinos and
Oh, yeah, the dinos weren't used enough. In my opinion, we need more dinos.
There are plenty. Thanks.
You're welcome. I got some more pocket raptors for you.
Yeah.
Yay! You can always tell what's murdering me because I'm like, no more.
Yes, stop, not the 20-pack. Ah.
What were you saying?
Oh, just that. Yeah, that was one of the other reasons we decided early on to include an area with plants on the island, and we looked to there are areas around like Hawaii and other places that are very volcanic, but the volcano actually makes the soil very rich, so you get these really cool contrasty like black areas with very green plants coming out of it. And once you put plants somewhere on the island, then you have the beginnings of an ecosystem.
Yep.
And so you can start going beyond just, again, destroyers and rocks, and you can start having dinosaurs, because there's presumably plant-eating dinosaurs that then the other ones can eat.
Much like Hawaii.
Much like Hawaii.
Much like
Yeah.
Hawaii, yeah.
But that is true.
Well, the circus folk needed to eat, too.
That's right.
Let's talk about the circus folk. I called them circus idiots, and then I apologized to you guys, and you were like, "No, it's totally
fine.
not.
They
they're,
are
they're,
They're
they're
not the brightest bulbs in the box, you
Yeah,
no.
guys."
Nope.
No.
All right.
My favorite guy is the one that takes your 50 copper.
Which
Have you
one is-
seen-
I've been running around talking to them, and I actually have one that I want to ask you about. But tell me about the
There
50 copper
is
guy.
a guy that will play a trick with you, and yes. I'm not going to tell you. I mean, that would just take away the fun.
I will give you 50 copper to tell me.
Nope,
and we'll just
just-
save some time.
Just go talk to the guy next to the guy that's in love with the prop.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that guy I kind of love.
I love him.
Whose idea was that?
That was Angel.
I think it was,
it?
a writer just
He's
kind of like
amazing.
Angel just snuck that in
Yeah.
there, and it was
He's just-
awesome.
This is the love of his life.
Yep.
And I never want to see this end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want him to drag it around forever.
Maybe we'll have him show up in the future with, like,
Yeah.
it on a wagon.
That's funny. Yeah, we placed the guys out there, and
Because he got hitched.
Yeah.
oh,
That one's for you, Dara.
I was like, are we doing puns about this? I'm not really hearing it. There it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Link is. Yep.
Thank
it's
you,
been
Link.
done.
You're welcome.
Maybe they will get hitched. That would be fantastic. Okay, so we've got the 50 copper guy. We have. I'm interested in lava. Not
Like as a
the
concept?
actual. No, the kid.
Oh.
Oh,
kid.
the Kid Lava.
Yeah.
That's another Angel special.
Yeah,
Is
she
it?
did a lot of that. Like we had the general idea of there's the circus people here,
Yeah.
and we placed the actual NPCs. But then she just went through, and she just like wrote all these little interactions and dialogues and hooked
Yep.
them up to them. So
Yep.
yeah,
I did all the big dialoguts about
Yes.
the entitlement
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
sloth.
That was amazing.
Wow.
For those of you who haven't gotten to hear the circus folk complaining about the sloth, they're very angry that she wants to eat and live.
Yeah. Well, they feed her, so she shouldn't eat her kids. The level
Yeah.
of entitlement there is just, you know.
Okay. It is. There's this whole going back and forth, and I was just kind of running around, looking at the environment, and I heard and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I heard one of them saying, she's. I don't know how much longer I can handle this behavior, and so that was you.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
Yes.
So they're feeding her. They're bringing her food,
Mm-hmm.
and she's still literally eating her young.
Yep.
What's up with her?
I don't know.
Why?
She's
Why would you
just
do
a
that?
cranky. She's just a cranky
she's a
lady.
jerk.
Okay. So how did the circus folk get there? Is it just their own stupidity that landed them?
They're shipwrecked. Yeah, they were. The way I always thought of it when we came up with it initially was that they were up at Maguma, which is far north of where we are, and they picked up a sloth there. They had it in their boat along with probably some other animals, and that they got lost. Maybe there was like a volcano erupted and there was smoke or something. Anyway, or they just followed the wrong thing. They got lost. They shipwrecked way down there. So with the sloth, and then they decided to, since the sloth wasn't particularly trained, that they should train it up and get it ready before they went back. And they didn't really have another means to get back until just recently, when I suppose now that they've met the player and there's a portal there, they could get back, but they're still
No, they
training
need
the
their
sloth.
show.
Yeah,
They need to bring this.
the
They
show
need to bring
needs
the
to be,
sloth back to Tyria for the show that they always plan for it.
They're going to rip me off for my 50 copper. I'm not entirely inclined to help them. Okay, so the little kid that I was talking about, do you guys know
I do
very much
know.
about her story?
No, I don't know much about her
I
story.
don't
Okay.
know anything at all.
All right, I will have to ask Angel about that later
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
that
I'm very curious about what her deal is. She talks like she's never been to the mainland, or she
Yeah,
doesn't
no, she was
remember, and
born
I'm like,
there, right?
okay, what's your deal?
Yeah, they're supposed to have been there for a while.
That's-
I'm not
yeah.
sure. I don't know if she would have been born there. She could have been too young to.
Yeah.
But
This is exactly the timeline I'm trying to figure out. I
Yeah.
keep talking to her, going, maybe if I read her dialogue again,
Right,
will you tell me
right.
more things.
yeah, I would imagine because they're supposed to have been there for a few years. I don't remember the exact timeline, but like more than
Yeah.
one. And so I think
Definitely more than
yeah,
1 year.
Yeah,
Yes.
If your
Yeah,
clothes get that
they've-
tattered, it's definitely.
that's right.
one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fun group. You guys did good work with all of these
Yeah.
people, and it's a cautionary tale because way back when we first brought Slothosaur in as a raid boss, I was looking at these adorable little slublings, and I'm like, I would love to have one of those. And now I'm looking at our circus folk going, no,
Yeah,
I don't want one
that's
of
right.
those.
no,
Yeah, I don't
I'm
need
gonna,
one of
I'm
those.
gonna say no on that one. All right, I want to talk about the Skritt since you love them so much. Skritt don't feel like naturally occurring things in Ember Bay. And yet you brought in 750,000 of them to live there.
There's not 750,000.
It feels like it.
There are
There's
a lot.
so
Quite a few.
many.
There are a lot. Yeah.
How did they get there?
Well, I think you tell the background more.
Yeah,
much better than
I
do.
wrote the background for them. They were pirates out on the high sea doing pirate stuff.
As you do.
Yeah, and their captain, Captain Hughes, is a bit unstable.
Captain Huna?
Hughes. Yeah.
I wonder
named
where
after 2/3 of what's sitting over here.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, as they were sailing near to Ember Bay, it was around the time that the destroyers were popping up and wrecking the place, and you had Rohann and the other dwarves there. My mind was that the captain started to see the volcano there, and she started to think of it as a great shiny, and she got sort of obsessed, and she's a little crazy as it is, so she thought this is the place
not
to
a little
go. This is
crazy.
she's very
Totally
crazy. So she
I
landed
love her
them
so much.
Yeah. So she landed them all there, and that's when they found Rohann the Dwarf, who they were all very impressed with, his sort of authority and whatnot. They decided he must be a god, or she did as well, and convinced the rest of them. And so I always thought of them as their like former pirates who have found religion. And so that's why they're
great.
now fighting the destroyers and working with him. And there was also a great fun with sort of the contrast between the sort of stoic, kind of grouchy dwarf and the sort of frenetic, dumb Skritt. That was one of the other initial ideas, is that the reason he can't send the Skritt to turn the machines on is he'll get them together in a group, because their intelligence is based on the number of other Skritt that are near them. So he'll get them in a group, and he'll be like, here's where the machines are, you should go get them. And they're like, great, let's split up. At which point they head out in different directions, and they all forget what they're doing, and
because they get too dumb to function.
right, because they get too dumb to figure it out. And so but they're the combination of those two is
That was
very fun.
my favorite things that didn't happen story.
Yeah.
Ever. When you told me that the other day, I was so happy about that. And
Yeah.
I wish we could have made that work. That was hilarious.
there was a bunch of stuff we wanted to put in. Another
Yeah.
Original idea that again didn't fit in the dialogue in the story we were telling was that basically they were looking at Rohann as a god, and so he would speak very plainly, but they would think he was speaking in metaphor. So everything he would tell them, he'd be like, go away, leave me alone. And they're like, we need to think about the important things in life.
Everybody sit near him and ponder
Exactly. But again, there wasn't quite enough space to fit that along with all the... It's already a pretty dense with story area. And so,
Actually, I want to talk about the story. I do want to talk about one more creature that we populated Ember Bay with. Why are there Karka? Why,
yeah.
Link?
So there I am, right? I'm looking around and thinking, how can we vary what's on this desolate rock? And it's been so long since we've had a reason to go fight Skritt in a new place. Karka in a new place. So, just thought that would be really fun. We looked at it, and there ended up being the scaries that just was a space that made sense for them. And in fact, originally that area was populated with smoke scale, who everyone
That's because I hate. Sorry, play. That was some player hate, and I'm glad we changed it. Yeah.
The event that like the disillusioned Skritt that want to go out and found a new scratch.
Yeah.
Fighting a ton of smoke scale out there was pretty challenging, so felt better to switch it up for Karkas. And
yes, the double health bar is so much better.
Yes. It was just a fun opportunity and big open space that they made sense for.
They look really cool.
High five.
And they look really cool.
Yeah.
So
They do.
honestly, I would fight a Karka over a ton of smoke scale.
Oh, you have no idea how many there were.
I don't know.
Scaling, there were like 30 going on each
No.
one. Yeah.
No.
Iteration. It's what we do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to see anything because the
Nope.
word miss
Yeah.
in my screen
Yeah.
so many hundreds of times.
Just fill up the
It's
whole
just
screen.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it was fun to watch destroyers fight smoke scale.
It kind of was. That was entertaining.
Smoke scale
Oh.
destroyers just for
Yes.
canon.
That I would
that's
love to see.
just so you know.
Oh gosh, that sounds amazing and awful. As long as I could watch from a safe distance and just be like popcorn for days.
That's fair. I never did have smoke scale fight Karka. I wonder if smoke scale would win.
Okay,
Hmm.
who would win in a fight, smoke scale or Karka? Here's the thing: I need you to find out and let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that a thing you can arrange?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, let's talk about story. So you worked on the story section. What was
Yeah.
your role in working with narrative in this?
So generally narrative, it's a sort of a back and forth. Generally narrative will give you a list of story beats that need to happen, or should happen, or they'd like to happen, and you look through them and you figure out sort of, okay, how do I translate this into gameplay, and how do I sort of figure out the blocking and where sort of players will interact and what they will do, and then you sort of send that back to them and they look, and you go back and forth, and sort of very quickly you try to get a playable sort of prototype of it somewhere in the game, using usually temporary art and things like that, and my own dialogue that I've written that then gets rewritten, and so you just sort of back and forth of play and then feedback.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just kind of work our way through and start with Taimi's game, because
Okay.
that was so much fun. And Nellie can tell you, when we were still in the testing phase of this, I got into that. I stopped playing. I tabbed out of the game, sent Nellie a message, and I was like, who did this? This is incredible.
That's cool.
So how did you get to, okay, let's use Moto's thing for this?
Yeah, the Moto thing was actually Josh Foreman's suggestion.
Yep.
He was one of the original creators of Super Adventure Box.
I imagine he was like, hey guys, I have this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was another thing that again took a lot of iteration to get where we ended up with it. The only initial sort of plot point was that Taimi has uncovered this sort of simulation room, and that we need to battle destroyers within it, so that we have a contrast between old destroyers and new destroyers, sort of as we move on to the next map. So that was all we had initially, and there were again a bunch of changes. The very first version was literally in a volcano, and it looked completely realistic, and it was we played around with having sort of an unstable environment where it would different props would from different maps would pop in, so you would have, you'd be in a volcano, but then like underwater plants would start to come by, and that ended up looking like a big chaotic mess.
That
like
sounds
it's
like
a
the
neat
chaos
idea.
fractal. Seriously.
And it was that kind of idea.
And we already did that. So
Yeah, that's true. And in the context of this, it's already a very story dense sort of instance to begin with, and so when on top of the combat and all of the important plot points, you then had all this craziness going on around you, it made it really difficult to concentrate and sort of see what was going on. So that's why we pared it down quite a bit, and we still put in the Moto though, and the
Destroyer of
Destroyer
the Destroyer of Bananas was
which,
amazing.
Yes. And so that was.
Whose idea was Destroyer of Bananas?
I was the one who named it. I'll
Yes.
say that. I believe, I think that was all me. We decided as a group
You're
to
allowed
put
to
SAB.
say, you can totally take credit. It's allowed.
I'll say the group did decide to put the SAB stuff in there, but I implemented the initial version of the monkey.
That's so fun. You were talking about how it got so chaotic and it could be so distracting. I did find that it ended up striking a good balance between, hey, we have all of the stuff that we need to tell you. Also, you need to fight all of these things.
Yeah.
And it was like right at this balance between a little too much, and I was thinking, okay, she's going to need to stop talking pretty soon.
Yeah.
And she did.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
it worked out well.
Good. Yeah, we iterated on that a lot between like looking at the dialogue, like there was a version that had more dialogue actually, and it was but then looking at it and going, what is really important or really funny or good, and sort of a lot of judicious cutting, which is a lot of any kind of design or writing or editing is judicious cutting,
Yes.
And so it involved just a lot of that to try to get that balance as close as we could. We had versions where the dialogue and combat were happening at the same time, but that was it was difficult to process everything at once, and so
thank you. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a time or two when she was saying, okay, real quick, before the next wave comes. Okay, now the next wave is coming. I got to stop. And thank you for shutting up. I love you. I appreciate you shutting up right now, because I will not listen to you.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So I do want to say really quickly, if you guys watching have questions, you can drop them in chat, and we will try to answer a couple of them at the end. So while we're talking about Taimi's game, this is more of a narrative thing, but I do want to mention I've enjoyed watching Taimi as a character. She's getting old, and she's not getting old.
No.
But she's getting into those
at the
awkward
prime age of like,
teenage
19
years.
or something.
She's 16 now.
She's 16, yeah.
And she's been an interesting character to watch, because she was this, like, she had that cocky little kid thing where she had no idea of her own mortality or her own limits, and she, shut up, stupid adults, I know everything. And a cool touch that I noticed in Taimi's game was that she had to admit she didn't know something.
Yes.
And it pissed her off.
Yep.
Yeah. No, she didn't. Ritlock enjoys it, but
Ritlock quite enjoys it.
Yeah.
But Ritlock's not enjoying much of anything right now.
he's enjoying doing whatever he's doing at the Citadel at the moment.
Yep.
That's he took off and wait, no, come back. We
Yeah.
need to know things. fine.
Yeah.
You know, we got to watch him show up, clean out his spam folder, and leave. It
I'm
was
sure
like
he'll
it.
come back at some point down the road.
That wasn't. I'm like 90% sure that's not just the end of the character.
Okay. You're not going to tell me, are you?
No.
No, I'm not
All
going
right.
to tell you what actually happens.
I tried. Okay, we mentioned Rohan? Roban.
Robin.
I keep calling him Dwarf Face, and
Yeah, Rockface.
Rockface was kind of an awesome addition because I was picturing the whole time, the first time I played through, I was picturing Rockface. I was thinking like the Great Ooh, this big cliff or something, and then I got in there and found how incredibly literal it was.
Yeah.
Who did this is all I have. How did we get here?
I like headless.
Yeah.
I like bodiless heads that talk. I don't know if you remember on a York Basin that there was Dakura ran around with the exalted head with the gold guzzler. So I figured I would just continue on with that theme
That's
of
right.
Skritts holding inanimate objects that talk in their hands. Actually, they
I'm
weren't
so
holding
happy.
the head, but you know the head has his palace
Yeah.
now or whatever.
but
The
we got to
chair.
take his thumb.
Yes,
That's true.
we
You
did
do
get
have
to
his
take his
thumb.
thumb. You get to always keep his thumb.
Yep.
I would really like to just find some way to pick up Roban's head, stuff it in my backpack, and I had really
We wanted a backpack that talked.
I had really, you
I
know how
want-
like Taimi was in there
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
time
I
yelling
want,
at you?
I want a Rohann
There's
head.
a version of
See,
that.
you
Rohan
called him that
head.
too.
I did too because that's a traditional Irish name. Damn
Yes.
it! Or darn it! Oh. Beep.
All right, get off the show.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Sorry, you're pinned with the microphone.
I know,
Yeah.
right? That would be
Okay,
awesome.
so Roban's in there. He's very old. He doesn't have to have patience anymore.
Right.
But he's trapped in this big chair with
Yeah.
all of these Skritt,
Yeah.
and it's just the best setup.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier, there's a great sort of tension between this guy just sort of stuck in the middle of it with the, perennially sort of, grouchy expression on his face as the Skritt go nuts all around him. There's one guy who just stands in front of him all day going. And I love that. But yeah, it's a nice contrast between
He's trying to entertain
the two.
him.
Exactly.
This is more open world story content.
Yeah.
How do you make that work without him citizens?
Oh,
How do you keep that from happening?
So we actually have, we did a lot more with open world story stuff this time, and it definitely takes a lot of sort of testing to make sure that it took a long time to get it all working, but we do have the ability to set things so that only a specific player who has interacted with it can hear it or see it. One very subtle thing that is not super noticeable, but it took a while to get it right. As you turn off the machines when you go through the story, the skulls on the central volcano actually go out one by one just for you. So depending on which machines you have turned on and off, different skulls will be lit on that central volcano. They're each linked to. You can see it best when you do the circus step. Actually, if you watch the skull that's right in front of you as you stand on that cliff, it'll go out and it'll erupt also.
Really?
Yeah, the eruptions also are only depending on where you are in the story. You'll see different eruptions than a
This
different
is
player.
cool. So this is more far-reaching than just right here on the machine. The little ball.
Yeah,
changes.
yeah. The
Yeah.
little ball changes for you. The again, when you talk to any quest NPC, you should be the only one who hears it. Yeah. So
That's some
But it-
pretty good fine-tuning.
yeah, and it takes a lot of it does take a lot of testing to make sure every little thing that's been said has been said, and that you have to get in playing multiple characters yourself and sort of try the different things from different angles. But I think it turned out well. So.
I think so too, because we don't have all of these NPCs yelling the same thing
Right,
at 40 players
Right, exactly.
at
yeah.
once, and I think we all appreciate that so
Yep.
much. Speaking of fine-tuning things, I wanted to talk about I'm going to say it wrong, old foes, old ghosts.
Yes.
Did I do it? I did it.
You did it.
That might be the first time. I wanted to. That is a brutal story step. Either that or I'm just bad because I messed
No,
it.
it's pretty
I
brutal.
struggled.
Yeah, you're just moving through the temple.
Yes.
It
Oh my
is
gosh.
tough.
It
and
is
It's
tough.
like, please stop shooting me.
Yeah, it's meant to be pretty tough. Part of it, one of the things, so our first versions of it were not very difficult, and sort of internal testing and the earliest people who played it, it didn't feel scary enough to be a Mersat temple, basically. We ended up wanting the place to be someplace that was sort of terrifying, and that moving through it was very sort of most of the time.
It was mostly ow.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I myself, when I played through it, once it was on live, like waited to gather a group of people to
Yep.
move through it. Like it's better to almost think of it as like a open world. It helps to have other people if you can find the when the event is on or something like that. Definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of quiet when I was doing it with some guildmates later at night, and we had one of our friends, he ran ahead, and he took the fire for us because he'd already done it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a heavy class, and he was like, okay, they're all hitting me, go, hurry, because I'm not going to last long.
I'm down to the helm. I'm down to like getting the helm, and then I can finally get in.
The helm is the hardest. You have to go very deep in the.
Yeah, you're a
place.
jerk. You're an I was swearing your
I
name
was just
last
wondering
night.
who
I
did
was
that.
like, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
all
placed
Aaron.
all the stuff where you have to interact in there. It basically, if it's green text on the top of the thing there, that's the stuff I did.
All right.
So
Yeah,
I
heard
did
the
place
man.
those.
Blame
there.
him.
I didn't set the jade the jade constructs or any of the rest of it. I did place where the
Okay,
things
because
were.
I'm maddest about that. So no, it was fun, and I felt good when I got through it.
Yeah,
so, but yeah,
it's-
it hurts.
It is a tough area. I will admit that.
So let's talk about the armor collection, because I'm interested in, I guess, how hard it was to make it work.
Oh my gosh. We are never signing up for that again.
I am sorry to
ever.
bring up painful memories,
Oh,
you
no,
guys.
that was tough.
It seemed like such a small suggestion
Yeah,
when it was at the time, and then it
Put on the. But what ends up
Yes.
happening is, and again, not to get too technical with
You
it,
can.
but
It's fine.
each piece of armor, as you collect it, runs a script that looks to see which other pieces you've collected, and based on that, it then looks to see what race and gender combination you are, and based on that, each time it says, okay, should you be in the armor yet, and if so, which, and then you have to go through. But again, from a testing perspective, you had to test every variation on each one. So you had to go through each. So you had to go through with the boot and look at, okay, a Sura male, a Sura female, charm, and do the quest steps like that for each combination.
For each part of,
yeah,
boots only,
right,
gloves
exactly.
only, helm only.
And make sure, and then do them also. You had to make sure that you did it once with the boots or the helmet or whatever being the last one, because that was the one. It basically looks to say, have you collected the other three? If you have, then do it. So whichever. So yeah, it was a big pain. There's also there were ultimately issues with if you died while you were in the Mersat transformation and things like that. It ended up being not as simple as we think. I think it's cool. I'm glad it's in there.
No, it definitely is
It
cool.
looks-
It
looks
worked
cool.
out well, and
Yeah.
I really do feel bad, because the way this conversation came about is that I messaged Nellie while we were playing at work, and I was like, oh, haha, a Char character got like in all of his armor.
Yeah.
And the ghost is like, you could totally pass. You look perfect, except he's a giant cat with a tail
To be fair,
in this armor. And Nellie was like, you sit down.
Yeah,
You don't know.
You
To be
only knew
fair,
the name.
I am sorry. I did not know.
Grumpy's fairly sarcastic, so that's.
I just thought he wasn't
yeah,
very bright.
that was.
But no, yeah.
If you were a
that's-
ghost stuck in a Mersat
You would
fortress, wouldn't you
amuse
be ticked off
yourself.
too? I
Yes.
would be ticked off.
I would find whatever entertainment I could by
That's right.
looking at, like a Char and a Sir, and be like, you
you
go
look
right
great.
ahead. Let me know how it works out.
Yeah.
So, and you guys ran into some bumps here and there. I mean, you came into. Was it Lindsay that you were telling me said, "Hey, found a little problem
What?
Which one?
with the armor?"
Yeah, which one? Oh,
yeah,
God.
which we have lots of
yeah, the one
Lindsays.
where
Yeah, it was just making sure we didn't want to. We wanted to make sure
take
that
away all
if-
player agency, right?
Yeah, well, you want
Yeah.
when the player puts on the armor, you want them to look as much like their character as possible. And when we were initially planning it, we were thinking, oh, well, you're wearing armor, so it's not going to worry. The thing is, the Mersat armor
It's like Lazarus's like
cut
six pack.
out here. Yeah, so
skin
you're
still shows.
right.
Yeah.
So we
and-
wanted the skin to look like as much. So the skin needed to either look like the player's skin or look nothing like the player's skin.
Which
And
means you have to now think
so-
about their race,
Yeah.
their
right,
skin
exactly,
tones,
and we weren't going to be able to
everything.
do that many variations, so that's why ultimately you turned into like a zombie,
Yeah, you look
like
zombified.
Mersat kind of like
Yeah.
an undead Mersat kind of skin under there.
Yeah, there's just so much more to think about than
Yeah.
boom, slap these armor skins on, and we're
which
totally
again
done.
was the initial.
Yeah,
sort
and
of
it was
thought,
such an
and it
easy,
wasn't-
like low-hanging fruit, like
Yeah.
suggestion, and it seemed so easy at the time,
Yep.
and it was the worst.
It was also one of those things where you didn't quite sort of
Know how to do
realize
it.
how complex. Well, that too, but it wasn't quite
Me too,
so
I wasn't
complex. You didn't realize how complex it was until you were already so knee deep in it that it kind of felt like there was no going back.
Yep.
yeah, and
On
then
my,
they emerged
on
a
my
week
third
later.
day of implementation, I was like, "We're doing this because I'm not going to lose as many hours on some problem I can't solve."
Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. The final story step. Have you seen
Oh, yeah.
people's reactions
People love it.
to Dragon Vigil?
Yeah.
And you guys, hey, spoilers. We're going to be talking spoilers.
Yep, lots of spoilers.
Yeah.
The first day when Rising Flames released, I was being insanely careful about spoilers on
Sure.
our social
Yeah,
media
yeah.
sites. So I wasn't talking about Aurene
Mm-hmm.
on the Guild Wars 2 Twitter or anything. I was being super, super careful.
Yeah.
So even now I'm still a little bit gun shy about like yesterday I was like checking with people before retweeting something.
Oh, really?
You think it's okay if I talk about her? It's like, yes. So even now I'm like, we're gonna talk about the thing.
Yeah.
The thing.
Yeah.
The thing at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
That's right.
How do you guys
Marjorie's
feel about
new outfit.
Yes!
Stop.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's great though.
Taimi
It
has
is
a
good.
new outfit.
She
It
does.
sounds
She has a
like-
monocle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As you do when you turn 16.
Yes.
Yes. Did you all get
That's
your
our
Sweet
quinceañera.
16 monocle?
Exactly.
I
yeah.
do. I have it at home.
Right?
It's like losing your first tooth. You just keep it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like the corsage for the Asuran prom, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it
Ooh.
would be.
It would be. It
would.
really
Oh.
would be.
Cool.
I got
They
an
have a
idea for a
science
future
fair.
episode.
Yep.
Is there a prom?
Yes. Monocles everywhere.
oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Monocles for all. That'll be the episode name.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Nailed it.
How do you
Sorry.
guys feel about the reception to Dragon Vigil?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Heck
people
yeah.
are super
They're
happy
losing
with
their
what you were
minds over a
hoping
sweet
she
dragon
would.
being
Yeah.
born.
It's just right. It's just like it's been like a week-long sustained squee.
Yeah.
I've had to schedule dental work to deal with the cavities that Aurene has given me.
Yeah.
Because she's so
Yeah.
sweet.
My
In the best
original
way.
idea of like the hatching cinematic never came to fruition though, so like
Oh, no.
I'm not as excited.
What did you want?
I just wanted a bunch of squishing sounds on the top of the egg to like. But no, cinematics didn't think that was cool enough.
Aurene crawls out
Yeah,
like,
it's
an alien.
Almost like the Spaceballs movie.
And then,
again,
like,
where
skitters
it's like,
off.
yes, hello my baby, hello my darling. That would have been amazing if we only had the animation budget.
I am upset that did not happen.
So am
now.
I. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Man, thanks. Now I'm disappointed.
Sorry.
That's okay. I do want to talk about the actual story part of it, though. I guess this is old technology, and it malfunctioned, and suddenly everything is trying to kill her, and we
No,
have
the
no
room did its
protections.
job. The room protected
Yeah.
the egg.
While we were, the room protected the egg,
And then
Egg
it gave
hatched.
birth, and then it did its job.
And
He
suddenly
does talk
everything's
about,
after
like,
her.
Yeah. So this is partially what. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because of potentially other things that may come around later.
Yes,
But,
I was thinking very quickly. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
But yeah, part of it does involve the idea that yeah, the Exaltitudes in there does mention that the technology is older and it could be malfunctioning. Part of it also has to do with the fact that Primordius has created these new destroyers and they're actually able to get in to this area, whereas other ones have not been able to before. And so, a lot of this involves sort of Primordius waiting for the right moment, or at least his minions waiting for the right moment to come in and try to get her. Yeah.
I'm not entirely pleased about him. I do have to tell a small story on myself. I didn't realize until, and I was telling our team about this, and everybody got a good laugh at my expense. I didn't realize that the little bombs that were being planted
Yeah.
near Aurene, could hurt them. So I was
Oh,
like in
yeah.
a panic. I was picking them up and I'd like
And
run
throwing
to the
them
steps
far
and
away.
chuck them
Oh,
as far
no.
away
In
as
fact,
they could
I'll
get.
give another tip because this was something that
So,
I
yeah.
think is so
Don't do that.
get the bombs, throw them at the destroyers. When you get to the boss, there's another button that will pop up when you throw the bomb at him, and that's really the key. I missed that.
The sass button.
Yeah, the so
Sass
use the
button?
bombs,
Sass
use
button.
things that pop up on the screen.
Yeah.
It gets a lot simpler, and if you do that in playthrough, that's how you get the baby dragon mask helmet
Yeah.
thing.
I found that out on the last boss. But I'd been throwing them as far away.
Yeah.
Get them
Yeah.
away from her. Get them away from her. So yeah, if there was anything on the outskirts of the thing,
Right.
they were screwed.
Yeah.
Yep. They were feeling the force.
Yeah, I was just an idiot that first playthrough.
I haven't played it on live yet, so I guess
Yeah.
I've got to get there. Yeah, no, I can't get the helm, Aaron.
Oh no.
Oh, that helmet. Yeah.
Aaron's like, dear God, I'm sorry.
Well, there's destroyers hanging out outside the chamber too, so I'm sure you were still doing damage. Take that, Primordius.
There
Yeah.
are.
Have
you
at
can
you.
catch some of them before
You
they
way
come
over
in.
there. Okay, we're getting kind of short on time. I do want to try to answer a couple questions, but I want to talk a little bit about the open world events. Was that you that worked on those?
Yeah, did most of it.
Okay, there were a couple of those.
Link helped, and we had some other.
Did some refinement on some
Yep.
of that stuff.
Nice.
Yep.
I have questions about a couple. We have the big ones. I mean, we have like the Smooshatron event, which
That was
so
actually
much
Aaron.
fun.
That one was me. That's the one event I worked on.
Well, it was a really big one. You probably didn't have time for many other ones.
Yeah, Smooshatron was fun. We knew we were gonna do the lava worm. That we already had that sort of requested, and so it was a matter of just finding something fun to do with that boss fight. And I just had this idea of this crazy Asura sort of Captain Ahab character, doing crazy things to try to stop the worms, and building a giant golem felt like a fun. It's also supposed to be a bit of a tribute to kaiju battles.
Yep.
Sort of
I like it.
yeah.
I, for some reason, did not, and I was running around there, and I still didn't make the kaiju battle.
Oh
And now I'm going to be looking at that going,
yeah.
every time I run through.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only one who didn't do that. I don't know. I, again, love Captain Hughes.
Yes,
Just
she's my favorite.
sitting there watching her freak out
Yep. Yep.
every once in a while. Can we talk about Hungry Hal a little bit?
We can talk about Hungry Hal.
Are you wanting to make it? I don't want to be like, what? Is it like a long-term thing?
It was supposed to be a long-term
Okay.
thing. I also feast off the tears of our players
There
to
it
keep
is.
my youthful
I was
appearance.
like, I'll let you say it if you want to.
Yep. Yep. Sorry, guys. I needed to look another couple years younger, so I
Countess
put Hungry
Nellie
Hal in there.
Bathory.
Dang, no.
No, that's not it at all. No. Yeah, actually, there was some stuff that went on with it that wasn't totally expected. None of us knew the mastery point was going to be on there. Oh. Andy asked if I did it, and I asked if he did it. And nope.
I was looking at you like, what?
Yeah, no, that was definitely not supposed to be the case, but it's there now, and it will stay there. The secret to him is you need to take the lava tube right in front of the shipwrecked village, and that will shoot you over to a ledge that you can then glide over to and talk to Hal. You don't have to go through the fortress. You can just do it with. It's like a soft hard gate. Get thermal propulsion.
You'll be glad you did.
You will. It looks awesome. It's super fun while you're doing it.
I
anyways.
like that you only need, 500,000 XP to get thermal propulsion. So I get to use a little
pretty
XP, but it's
Yeah.
not very much.
Well,
get
we
it pretty
wanted to
quick.
make sure because we're doing these live in world episodes, and each of them are kind of they're telling their own story. We didn't think that it didn't feel good to have to kind of do the traditional leveling that
Yeah.
we did on the other
Yeah.
masteries. So, the masteries are kind of made for that map and, future releases. And so we just didn't want to punish anybody. And if you don't have leyline gliding, which is one of the hardest ones, we just wanted to make sure that you could not get stuck just running around the island, and you were able to have your own set of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the goal was also to try to
Sorry, this thing's like,
set the XP value needed so that you would reach that 2/3 to 3/4 of your way through the episode, right? So that you'd have time in your initial playthrough to enjoy it, or if not, immediately thereafter.
Yeah.
Assuming that you do set the mastery to train at the beginning of the episode.
I totally didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yep. Got to remember to set that train that mastery.
Yes. It's nice that Bloodstone Fen and Ember Bay, I've noticed both just throw tons of XP at you, so
Yeah, you know.
it's fairly quick.
I mean,
Yeah.
we would
Yeah.
like we got to make up for some of that other stuff, like
Like Hungry Hell?
like
Oh,
hungry
yeah.
hell. Exactly. Soft hard gates.
Okay,
Players don't like
so-
hard gates, so we'll just set them.
A softer. Last one, Sloth
Sloth Queen.
Sloth Queen.
Mhm.
I was like, are we saying? No, she's Sloth Queen.
Yeah,
Out
she
in
is
the
Sloth
open
Queen.
world. She's yours?
Yeah,
was
she is
you?
mine.
Okay.
She is mine. It basically, I came down to the fact that I am a terrible team player, and I want to see our raid content out in the real world if it makes sense. The sloth was so cool, and the fact that so little of our players, including myself, got to go into that and play that. I wanted to just share the amazingness of that animal with everybody.
And
It won't happen all the time.
well, yeah, they're not going to go around collecting.
No, yeah.
They're- the circus folk are not going to have a raid boss collection.
Exactly, and that is,
They
you
weren't
know,
until you just said that.
yeah, well,
Man, we
Nellie's
just-
like,
yeah, and
no. But in this case,
but yeah, in this case it
worked.
worked. I think I don't think we're definitely not trying to make a cadence out of any of that. If it works, and the designer who is working on that piece of content wants to go for it, makes sense, and it works, and we should totally do it.
You guys sit by the raid teams.
I
do sit
next
across
to the
the-
raid team.
yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
aisle.
I got Crystal definitely got to judge me heavily with
Yeah.
my skill implementation on that sloth.
Nice.
I also love the just way that it's a subtle nod to King Kong, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Yep.
entertainers go to capture this giant
Oh, yeah.
creature
Yep.
on
It's there.
Skull Island.
Mhm.
What could possibly go wrong?
Only then they sort of end up in a monkey trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys want to? There are a couple questions here. Do you guys want to see if there are
So
one or
there
two
is
to
a
grab?
question from 404 Vault that said Nellie is team lead on what? Character lead, environment lead. I was the content design lead on that, so I just got to juggle a bunch of stuff and make cool stuff. What else do we got?
There's-
Picking questions in real time.
All right,
Yeah.
I can answer the guild decoration one. They were considered. I think it came down to some time constraints that we had.
Oh yeah, read them out.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
read 'em-
sorry.
no,
I'm
we
sorry.
can't-
My bad.
That's okay.
So the question was, were guild decorations considered for in-game rewards in Ember Bay? This release came with great fractal decorations, but I'm curious to know if guild decorations were considered for open future world rewards. Yes, they totally are. We just didn't have a chance to this time. That just means that our rewards guide has more stuff in the future with lava theme to make for you guys. But yeah, no, it is considered.
Lava Guild Hall to go next to your
Yes.
Super Adventure Guild Hall. Nice.
And which other ones do we want?
What can you
Let's
tell us
see.
about the
Let's
see.
strange rock? that
The
appears to be
one
humming with
question
magic?
from Sparklegitty was, why does the costume not change with the skin of the character? I assume that's going back to the Mersat thing, which I think we talked about a little
Yeah.
bit before,
Yeah.
but it was ultimately
It does change.
to get technical. Yeah, it does. It's
you have a
it's not
zombie
actually
skin.
just putting armor on your existing model. It's swapping your model out with another one, and we weren't able to have as many variations as there are skin variations for each character, and so that's why it does a neutral sort of zombie look.
Nice.
I can't. Are there any?
Okay.
Let's see.
What was the question? What can you tell us about the strange rock that appears to be humming with magic? I don't know what rock that refers
I know
to.
you. I do, but I'm not gonna say anything about it because it's a secret.
Not because you're mean, but because
No,
you
no,
can't.
no, because I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which area is it in?
You should read Reddit, and I will show it to you when we
Okay.
get off of here. Yes,
Like
it
the
is all
Guild
over
Wars
Reddit
2
right
subreddit,
now.
not just
An
any, not
education
just
for
Yeah,
Yeah,
Forums.
don't
any
feel
Reddit.
to
Yeah,
Alright.
no, our forums too. Yeah, we can't talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Secret.
All right.
It is a secret,
So-
though.
If you guys have answered all the ones that you are currently allowed to talk about,
Yes.
I'm having to defer to you because I'm looking at some of these going, I don't actually know if you guys are allowed to.
I think
talk.
Yeah.
we answered
Okay.
all the ones that we could.
So
Yeah.
we're going to call it good and let you guys get back to working on your next things.
Nice.
So, and
Cool.
let you all get back to playing. All right. Thank you guys very much. I know you're all three busy, and I appreciate you taking time out of your workday.
Thanks for
No
having us
problem.
Thanks
on.
for having us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.